Good morning, traders. A warm welcome to everybody. It's good to be with you, yeah? Hope you're having a fantastic morning. This is the opening bell. Before we get started, remember the information we discuss in this video is opinion and should not be construed as advice in any way. All right, I see the guys online there. King, I see you. Good morning. It's good to have you. Sammy, I see you. Good morning. What a time to be alive, as Tebow Touch would say. Yes, it is exactly 2 minutes after 9. It's the 9th of June, and we are really happy to be with you here. This is the opening bell. So, if the FX market feels a little quiet this morning, don't let that fool you, all right? Tomorrow is one of those days where traders are sitting on their hands waiting for a number, and that's the US CPI inflation. Now, think of it like a soccer stadium. Before that kickoff, the crowd is there, the players are there, but nobody's making any big moves as yet until the whistle blows. So right now, the US dollar is still carrying a lot of confidence after last week's strong job reports. The message from the market was extremely simple. The U.S. economy is refusing to slow down. Now, and that creates, a bit of a challenge there for the Federal Reserve because obviously people are working and earning and spending. Inflation can stick around longer than expected. So what's the market actually worried about, or what could we say is possibly a reason? I do think the market isn't really asking, is inflation high? The market is asking, is inflation slowing down fast enough? And so I know T, started with that this morning, yesterday morning, and this is a continuation of that, And so those are two very different questions. A lot of people don't realize this, but inflation can technically come down while markets still panic if it isn't falling fast enough. And that's why tomorrow's number is going to matter. Something interesting nobody talks about, one of the hidden drivers of inflation, inflation isn't just the food, fuel, or electricity. It's what people expect prices to do. And so if businesses believe costs will keep rising, they raise prices. If workers believe prices will keep rising, they ask for higher wages. Then those higher wages can lead to higher prices again. It's almost like inflation can feed itself. And that's one reason central banks watch inflation expectations so quickly, all right? So closely, sorry, I beg your pardon. So what's the feeling today then? All right, the dollar is strong, but traders don't want to chase it higher before the CPI. So that's why we're seeing some hesitation, and we're going to go through some of that now. Nobody wants to be the trader who buys a dollar 5 minutes before a softer inflation print. So at the same time, nobody wants to sell the dollar if inflation surprises to the upside. And so the market is in waiting mode. Let's look at the Euro USD first. Euro USD should be getting support from the ECB and that higher European interest rates. But at the moment, it feels like the euro is trying to ride a bicycle into, headwind. Every time it tries to push higher, the dollar reminds everyone that, the Fed may still have unfinished business. And you can clearly see it here. I got the hourly frame looking at our daily view of the charts today. That's yesterday, and obviously Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and last week, Monday. You can see the dollar has strengthened since last week, Monday. And so we've hit a support, and there's a high probability that the euro could strengthen over here, all right, before the CPI. It's just a matter of really waiting for it, right? There's quite a bit of divergence. I would like to suggest, or at least point out to the guys, and maybe we can even check it out, all right? Definitely divergence. Look at that. So I do think we're going to see a bit of upside first before we get the downside. Definitely divergence on the Euro USD. And we're dealing with the FX this morning, all right? We're not dealing with, cryptocurrency. We're not dealing with the indices. I'm only dealing with FX because we're leading up to the CPI. The AUD USD Is someone having somewhat of a identity crisis on the one side, better global sentiment, lower geopolitical fears. There's a lot of commodity support, but on the other side, strong US dollar, rising US yields. So it's getting pulled into two directions. At the moment, the dollar side is winning, all right? And you can see it as well from last week, Monday, up until now. You can see that it has fallen sharply. Now, that could be the case for now, but we could see price push up above this area. If it does, we could be going up one more time there. If the dollar does strengthen tomorrow, then obviously we see this happening. So let's watch it. There will be a trading room this afternoon at 2 o'clock, and we'll do a bit of an update to see what's happening in that specific area. All right. Tato, I see you there as well. Tato, 2 times. Good morning. Let's look at the Kiwi now. That's the New Zealand dollar. From the hourly perspective, guys, that's what Ash is looking at here. Showing a little bit more resilience here, creating great structure. We have a low, we have a high, higher low, higher high. Will we create another higher high back to this area here? We don't know yet. We got to watch it, all right? Why would Ash even say something like that? Well, because the New Zealand inflation concerns haven't disappeared. And markets still think that the Reserve Bank of New Zealand may need to stay tougher than some other central banks, because the Kiwi isn't exactly flying, but it's putting up a better fight than many expected, and that's something for us to take note of. So there is an upward structure here, quite different to this structure. That's why we saw the fall. Here we have a follow through of a high that came after the higher low here. There was no resistance that pushed the price down, so we in a very, very interesting place here. Let's see if we do push up. All right, you can watch the GBP USD. We've already reached a high, no follow through there yet on the GBP USD. Actually a rejection, so pay attention to that. If we break above here now and we close with the candle body, it's going to be a beautiful sign for us that from an intraday perspective before the CPI, we could be pushing up again back to these areas over here. So let's watch it today. I'll definitely be touching on this in the trading room at 2 o'clock, so you better be there. And then maybe just on the gold price here, because I know we have gold diggers every week. All right, let's get into the gold real quickly. Gold traders are basically staring at the CPI clock. The market knows exactly what gold wants: a weaker dollar and lower yields. But the problem is that nobody knows if they're getting that yet. And so gold is waiting for tomorrow's report before showing its hand. You can see there's a lot of consolidation happening. This area here, that area, as well as this area. And so we want to see if price will break out. If it does, then obviously we know we're going a little bit higher first. If you look at the daily frame, you can see that price has come from that support, hit a high, and this is a correction. All right, that's a correction there from that high over there. All right, but what we must also be aware of, guys, is that gold from a much higher time frame is still bullish. It is still bullish. So all we are noticing now is that this is a correction. And with that being said, if the dollar strengthens tomorrow, that correction could go a little bit deeper, perhaps back to this area over here. All right, and that's for the rest of the week. I'm not only referring to today or tomorrow. I'm speaking about Thursday and Friday as well. So make sure that you check that out. Obviously, at 2 o'clock, I'll be watching this very carefully. I'll be seeing, is there something for us to capitalize on? And I'll be watching the minute frames for that. Ash is not going to be looking at the weeklies, the monthlies for that. I'm looking at minutes. I'm talking 5 minutes. I'm talking 10 minutes. That's the kind of minute frames I'm going to be looking for. It's in and out. It's getting in. I'm looking for opportunities. And so you can obviously tune in and get yourself in there as well. All right. Let's not forget the oil price this morning, just to touch on it again. I'm looking at the daily frame, the monthly view of it. Ash, why the monthly view of it? Well, simply because the oil price from end of Feb, March, we've been seeing the oil price fluctuate quite a bit. And we can see, and we've mentioned this to the guys, there's exhaustion at the top. So we're expecting the oil price to still come down. Price could be going up to 97. It could be going back to the $100 a barrel, but ultimately, inevitably, we are waiting for price just to come down a little bit. Guys, it's impossible for the global economy to be at a standstill right now where countries are unable to make ends meet, all right? We do not foresee that the global economy is ready for that. Look at the disparity, all right, between nations. It is massive, all right? The infrastructure development is not at a place where we can get a oil price that is higher, and we are too dependent on oil. So we have to, as a global community, and for sure, even the people that are extremely rich, even if price goes up way too high, let's say it goes up to the 125, 130, please understand, guys, at some point, the super rich will also have to bleed, all right, at some point, because all the guys at the bottom will have to be supported. If price goes all the way up, I just want you to think about that for a second. Think about that for a second, all right? If price goes too high, all right, way too high, how can the oil price go all the way up to $200 a barrel? I'm talking about this price. I'm referring to the logistics. That's an added cost, all right? I'm just talking about the oil price itself. If it goes to, let's say, $228 per barrel, guys, listen, the people at the bottom, I'm talking about the poorest of the poor. I'm talking about the majority of the world, all right? How are they going to survive? At some point, the guys on top is going to have to carry them. It's principle. It's virtually impossible, all right, for it to go so high if the rest of the world is not caught up to the super, super rich or super, super wealthy, all right? That's a very important point, so please take note of that. Right now, we are trading the fractional movement of the oil price. There is exhaustion. We're anticipating the oil price to come down a little bit more, $84 a barrel. That's the support that it bounced from. We could go and revisit that area. There's a lot of divergence here. There is divergence here. You know, let me actually just put it on just to show you guys the divergence. I use the RSI to do it. Look at that. Absolute divergence. Look at that. All right. Look at the 12-hour over here. If you look at the monthly, even here, this is where you can actually see it. It's phenomenal here. Look at this. From here, hold on. From there, look at that. But then if you look at it here, we're going up. So there is divergence here. All right. We're not saying that price is going to stay, let me actually just get my arrow here. We're not saying that price is going to come all the way down here, because if that happens, then obviously this is going to create other types of problems now. All right. So that's why it's trying to find some form of normalization, normalcy here. So $84 a barrel. Let's see what it does after that. That's what we're anticipating. But again, time will tell, guys. That's one of the things that the market is running on. Time. You got to give it. You got to be patient with that. All right. Very important. I'm seeing, send me there. Brother, can you update me on GBP AUD? I'm holding a buy on the 1 hour time frame. My analysis of my setup, I see the buy. I hold for 3 months. All right. Let's I'll do that for this morning. I got about a minute or two left here. GBP AUD. Holding a buy. Remember, guys, also, Sammy, I'm not going to go into too much detail, my friend. Obviously, the trading room there, you have to join me at 2 o'clock, all right? And then we'll push lacquer in that one, okay? So, GBP AUD, I know that GBP NZD has pushed up significantly according to our analysis. It's done what it needed to do. Let's see what's happening here. I'm skipping straight to the hourlies on the GBP AUD. Straight to the hourlies, okay? Okay, Ash, why are you skipping to the hourlies? Because the minute frames, there's just too much happening. There's too much happening here. It's actually... Hold on, let's do this. This is actually a very interesting one. There's a lot of divergence here. So if you're holding a buy, I'm going to show you the divergence here. Look at the divergence here. This is a very... Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. No. There's a lot of divergence here. All right. But let me try and be a bit more specific with you. Okay, let me try and be a bit more specific with you here. All right, so I'm going to take this. Making me go to work this early here, Sammy. All right. See this area here, that support, we broke out these two areas here. So what price is doing is it's forcing us now to stay within the bounds, which is here. We're forced to stay here. All right, that's the short-term structure. Medium term, bud. Hold on, Ash is getting it for you. We've already broken out. This is it right there. That's it. We add a resistance now. Okay, let's look a little bit higher. You can use the H12. You can also use the daily. Not a problem. Guys, I'm looking forward to the trading room. You guys, you better be there. All right. Look at this. All right. So you at a very interesting place, my friend. That's where you at. There's a lot of divergence on the lower time frames. So I would say be very careful there. Be very careful of the lower time frames if you're going to be holding that. Okay. What I am seeing here is this. Hold on. All right. So at this point in time, what you're looking at, I want you to notice the divergence. All right. So there, bit of a resistance, and then obviously over here, same there. Okay. So there we're going up, but there's a bit of a resistance. Now, if price comes down, all right, if price comes down, we could be heading back here if the divergence continues to stick. All right, that's very, very, very important. If it continues to stick, we're going to push down till here, because what is done on the lower time frames, it's setting up. I agree with the buy. But we need to break out of the white block. Okay, so if we break out of the white block here, that becomes a beautiful long. Absolutely. I'll actually keep this one online for us at 2 o'clock. All right, so I see the buy, but the short term we could first be coming down here. All right, so just make sure you do adequate risk management there. Manage the trade. All right, your stop losses, make sure that they're in there. Very important. And then obviously at 2 o'clock, when we are in, we'll go through that again. All right. But that's it. That's it for now. We'll obviously be back at 2 o'clock to see what the London and the Tokyo session did. If you've not opened that account, guys, by now, www.tdmarkets.com. You can also email us at care@tdmarkets.com. If you're already an account holder with us, we have different types. We have standard accounts, mini accounts, cent accounts. You can always diversify and mitigate risk there as well. All right, we teach these kind of things in our sessions, so make sure you get in there and get that type of knowledge, not just general knowledge you find out there, but get specific knowledge in our sessions. All right, but that's it from me here this morning with the opening bell. Slightly longer, all right, about 20 minutes or so, but we'll be back at 2 o'clock. All right, have a lekker one. Very blessed, we're very privileged, we're happy to be alive, and you now tuned in with the most trusted broker. All right, have a fantastic one. Ash here. I'll see you guys at 2 o'clock. Ciao, ciao.